By virtue of the authority vested in me, I constitute this congregation of Durban University of Technology. The congregation is invited to sit.
Sanibonani, Molweni Dumelang, and good morning. Welcome to the 2022 Spring Graduation Ceremony for the Faculties of Arts and Design and the Faculty of Management Sciences. My name's Alan Khan. I'm the Senior Director of Corporate Affairs at DUT, and it's my privilege, pleasure, and honor to be a Program Director at this morning's Spring Graduation Ceremony. I'd like to acknowledge in absentia our esteemed Chancellor, Madam Nonkululeko Nyembezi, in absentia our Vice Chancellor and Principal, Professor Tandwa Mthembu. I'd also like to greet and say good morning to our Acting Vice Chancellor, Professor Singh, the Acting Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research, Innovation and Engagement, Professor Mutang, to the Executive Deans, Deputy Deans, members of faculty, to the Chairperson and members of Council, the Chairperson and members of the Institutional Forum, Chairperson and President of Convocation, and members of Convex, the President of the Student Representative Council, and members of the SRC. All protocol is observed. A very special welcome to our graduates, their parents, family and friends, supporters and funders, and welcome to every single one of you, our honored guests. And a special word of welcome to those who have logged on online to watch the online stream this morning to support their family and friends at this graduation ceremony. Vice Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I also need to acknowledge my colleagues from the academic support and administration sectors of the university who play such a marvelous role in helping our graduates achieve success. On stage, to my right, to your left, we have a sign language practitioner, which is customary at all DUT graduation events. We also have language interpretation services available for those of our guests who picked up the headsets at the entrance. Please make sure you switch them on so you can get the language translation service, interpretation offered from English to isiZulu. Importantly, please return the headsets to us after the ceremony so that other guests could then utilize the service in the next graduation this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't need me to tell you that the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted our lives for more than 2.5 years. And one of the repercussions was that we sadly could not host in-person graduation ceremonies. Whilst we did conduct successful online graduation ceremonies, there's nothing like being on stage in front of your friends and family, walking the red carpet, being conferred with your degree or awarded with your diploma or your certificate, and celebrating the moment in person. So we're delighted to have you back, and we're delighted to be back on stage as we celebrate graduate success at the Durban University of Technology. Whilst the pandemic was changing our lives, our university was prospering. DUT, I can now proudly say, is ranked in the top 5 of all South African universities according to the Times Higher Education World University Rankings in London. We're also rated in the top 500 of all universities on the planet and one of the top 6 universities on the African continent. So I think you deserve a round of applause, and the DUT team deserves a round of applause. And then on Wednesday, PMR Africa, which stands for Professional Market Research. PMR Africa named DUT as the #1 higher education institution in the province and presented our university with a 2022 Leaders and Achievers Award and retained our diamond status in PMR's Africa annual African Continental Survey. So once again, congratulations to the entire DUT family. I'm also very grateful and proud of our students and staff who continue to lead and succeed, who create and innovate as we strive to live the values and principles as enshrined in our Envision 2030 strategy. Now, I've been doing graduations at the university for about 13 years now, and what I do realize is that DUT graduates know how to celebrate because you put in the effort to get the success. So once you graduate, it's like a release of pressure. And what we witness, especially online, from the beautiful photographs that you share, is that you know how to party. So with that in mind, graduates, please remember, as you are posting on your various platforms, keep us in mind. Now, there used to be a saying back in the day, what happens in Vegas? All right, not so much true at this moment in time, because what happens in Vegas stays on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. So please hashtag DUTGrad22 so we could share and enjoy your photographs. Okay, so that's hashtag DUTGrad2022. In a short while, we'll invite our graduates to line up and then walk the stage. And I'm going to quickly take you through the process. I know some of you, and I see a lot of red gowns today, which is fabulous. So congratulations to those who will be graduating with their doctorates and PhDs. Congratulations to our masters, our graduates who are receiving degrees, diplomas, and certificates. I just want to quickly take you through as a refresher and also for the benefit of our guests, what will be happening over the next hour and a bit. So, you'll be called up to ask to be lined on your left, which is my right-hand side. And what you need to do, graduates, is bring your name card, obviously keep your robe on, and then your hood. You can leave your mortarboards on the seat. You'll then be invited to walk on stage. I always have a friendly word of advice, especially for all the ladies who are brave enough to wear high-heel shoes. We do have handrails on either side, so please make sure if you are feeling a bit wobbly. We sadly over the years have had 1 or 2 injuries, and we don't want you to hurt yourself in the excitement of the moment. You will then present yourself to the podium. Either the executive dean, the deputy dean, or the head of department will be here. You will hand over your name card. Next to the podium, there's a set of footprints. This is designed to help direct you to the congregation. Now, for where I'm standing, I can see you all invested a lot of time and money to look good. So smile, let your friends, family, and the congregation see how good you're looking. Face the camera, because trust me, the photographs that you will be capturing at this moment, at this time, will either be on your wall, mantelpiece, cabinet. If you're blessed to have your parents or your grandparents, someone is going to love and appreciate this. Your kids and your grandkids will be looking back at this in years to come. So keep your eyes open, make sure there's nothing stuck between your teeth, mascara is looking all good, lipstick is sorted out, because these are the photographs that matter. Once the photograph has been taken, your name has been read, please take your name card back. You're going to need the name card to collect your qualification in an envelope at the back of the auditorium later. So it's important. Keep your name card. You walk down the red carpet. Now, for those who are receiving their degrees, in front of our Acting Vice Chancellor, Professor Singh, we have a piece of equipment called a kneeler. It's not a chair, it's not a stool. We've had some people sit down, talk to the Vice Chancellor, ask him about the weather. Is it hot in here? Can you increase the aircon? None of those things. It's there for a specific purpose. You can kneel either on one knee or both knee, present yourself to the Vice-Chancellor, and the Acting Vice-Chancellor will then cap you. Now, the capping process is an important part in the conferment of your degree. Once you've been capped by the Acting Vice-Chancellor, please stand. Remember, another photograph is going to be taken at that point. And then you walk down to the registrar. Another set of footprints in front of the registrar. You hand over your hood, face the congregation. Another photograph will be taken. You'll then be hooded, and you carefully exit the stage. Once again, high heel shoes people, hold onto the railing, you're feeling a bit nervous. Then walk down the aisle to your right, my left, get to the back of the auditorium, and you'll then receive your qualifications, which you've worked so hard to achieve, in an envelope. Take good care of it. It's the only copy we have, and you've earned it. Return to your seat, and then please enjoy the celebration. I know those who are in the front will have to sit through the graduation, but I think every single graduate, because of the effort they've put in, deserves our attention and applause. So graduates and guests, we humbly request that you please stay with us for the entire duration of this morning's short graduation ceremony. For those who are receiving national diplomas and higher certificates, the only difference is that there's no need to kneel on the kneeler. There's no capping or conferment of a degree. You're being awarded a national diploma or a higher certificate. Our Acting Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Research, Innovation and Engagement, Professor Motang, will stand and shake your hand and greet you. And then also, please pose for a photograph with Prof. Motang, because that's going to be in your set of graduation photographs. You will then go down to the registrar, you'll be hooded, and exit the stage, and then collect your qualification. So that is the process. Enjoy the graduation ceremony. My final request before we commence is that I realize this is a celebration and a jubilation. Graduates, you will want to express your positive sentiment. As much as you want to do that, please remember there is another graduate at the podium who also deserves to have their name heard. Their family and friends also want to hear the name of their loved one who is graduating. So in your excitement, please also be considerate for the other graduates and their families and friends. Let's enjoy the celebration, and once again, from all of us at the Durban University of Technology, congratulations to our graduates, their families and friends. Acting Vice-Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, to commence with the formal part of this morning's graduation ceremony, I'd like to invite the Executive Dean from the Faculty of Arts and Design, Professor Renette Kruger, to the podium. Prof.
Acting Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to request you to confer the degrees and award diplomas and certificates on the graduates from the Faculty of Arts and Design who will be presented to you in absentia, and in absentia to those whose names appear on the program.
By virtue of the authority vested in me, I confer degrees and award diplomas and certificates.
Acting Vice-Chancellor, for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Education, I present to you Bernard Beragina. The title of the thesis is The Dynamics of Pre-Service Teacher Entry into Teacher Education, Student-Teacher Selection into Training Colleges in Zimbabwe. The supervisor is Prof. T. Mukaretsi. The co-supervisor, Dr. J. Abram. I now invite the supervisor to read the summary. On behalf of this, thank you, Prof. Mukaretsi.
Lack of consensus on selection criteria, tools and rules for student selection into initial teacher education remains a concern. This study investigated the dynamics of student-teacher selection into teacher training colleges in Zimbabwe. This was a qualitative, multiple-site case study within an interpretive paradigm where 40 purposively sampled student teachers were investigated. Data generation involved focus group discussions, interviews, and observations. Drawing on the cultural historical activity theory and funnel theory, I argue that pre-service teacher selection into teacher training colleges involves a complex and convoluted process. Findings reveal that absence of ministry policy gives rise to colleges devising their own diverse tools and rules for student selection. Mediational tools employed combine psychological and material tools. The rules that guide student selection include college guidelines, minimum requirements, academic performance, personal attributes, and public service regulations, including quality assurance. Stakeholders respond to the demand for vacancies in various ways. Prospective students apply and attend interviews, and successful candidates go on to pay fees without being offered vacancies, and lecturers threaten to strike if their relatives are not considered. Government officials submit lists to be considered, while responsible authorities, politicians, and chiefs, and also community members, in addition to submitting lists, demand quotas in the vacancy allocation. Colleges recruit over 8,000 applicants who compete for only 500 vacancies, which are offered after a 15 to 20 minutes interview. The thesis calls for the ministry policy on student-teacher selection and for standardization and control of, prospective students' selection. The study further recommends an additive selection model which combines multiple selection tools. Thank you.
Acting Vice-Chancellor, I present to you Bernard Beragina. For the degree in Doctor of Philosophy in Education, I present to you Sikumbuzo Sitembiso Dlamini. The title of the thesis is Exploring the Role of Lesson Study on Teachers' Pedagogical Content Knowledge in Teaching Mathematics. The supervisor is Dr. J. Abraham, and the co-supervisor, Dr. V. Masuko. I now call upon the supervisor, Dr. J. Abraham, to read the summary.
Lesson study is a professional development method for educators that has been used in Japan for decades. This qualitative study examined the lesson study's role in educators' pedagogical content knowledge in teaching mathematics. The study adopted cultural historical activity theory as the theoretical framework. The study is located in the interpretive paradigm. The participants of the study were intermediate phase mathematics educators, and multiple sources of data were collected through document analysis, meeting and lesson preparations and observations, and semi-structured interviews. The findings of the study highlighted that lesson study became a vehicle for participants to collaborate, discuss, and share their teaching knowledge and experiences. Consequently, the participants expressed that their pedagogical content knowledge was enhanced by participating in the lesson study. The findings underscore the need for content knowledge and critical good mathematics teaching and learning understanding. The research recommends collaboration with the curriculum specialist to gain insight and expert ideas. All in all, there is a need to foster a culture of lesson study that helps generate enthusiasm and commitment to learning in the lesson study among educators. Thank you.
Acting Vice Chancellor, I present to you Skimbuzo Dlamini. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Education, I present to you Salvin Jimmy Iverson. The title of the thesis is Barriers and Possible Solutions to Improve Learner Mathematics Outcomes in the High Schools in the Pembela Circuit of KwaZulu-Natal. The supervisors are Prof. D. Bridgelal and Dr. M. Tamai. I now call upon Prof. Bridgelal to read the summary.
In this study, the researcher explored challenges experienced by mathematics teachers and learners in 7 South African high schools. A mixed method approach involving interviews and questionnaires was used. The sample included 7 principals or deputy principals, 7 departmental heads, 1 mathematics teacher who taught in the FET phase, 1 mathematics teacher who taught in the senior phase, and a learner from each of grades 10 to 12, sorry. Structured interview schedules were used, followed by participants completing questionnaires. Sociocultural and conceptual development theories in mathematics education formed the basis of the study. Systematic, societal, and pedagogical challenges were identified. The researchers recommended a blended learning and teaching model to South African public schools. Mathematics teachers need to be trained in the blended teaching technology. Thus, blended teaching and learning would bring the world into the classroom and take the classroom out into the world, and at any given time.
Acting Vice Chancellor, I present to you Salvin Jimmy Iverson. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Education, I present to you Violet Makwara. The title of the thesis is Foundation Phase Teacher Professional Learning Outside the Formal Programs and Its Influence on Classroom Practice in KwaZulu-Natal Province. The supervisor is Prof. T. Mukaritsi and the co-supervisor, Prof. J. Priest. I now call upon the supervisor to read the summary.
Foundation phase is a period when children's learning readiness is high and fertile for laying a solid foundation for later learning. Literature on teacher professional learning is abundant. However, there is a paucity of academic work on how foundation phase teachers learn beyond the formal programs. The study investigated foundation phase teacher professional learning outside formal programs and how the learning influences their teaching practice. This was a qualitative case study where data were generated through focus group discussion, face-to-face interviews, and photo elicitation interviews from 24 purposively selected foundation phase teachers in selected rural, township, and urban schools in KwaZulu-Natal province. Data were manually analyzed through open coding, informed by two theories, deep and surface learning and types of learning, complemented by the domains of teacher knowledge. Findings revealed that foundation phase teachers experienced both deep and surface learning through interaction, non-formal and informal and collaborative interactions in restricted and wider professional sites. Grade, phase, and school meetings, as well as district, cluster, and social meetings were vital for professional learning. Foundation phase teachers gained mostly pedagogical knowledge, which in turn influenced their teaching practice. It also emerged that teachers in rural schools had to make do under severe under-resourcing to enhance their professional learning. These teachers received very little parental support. Teacher learning outside formal programs needs to be supported. And provisions for interaction for teachers enhanced. Parents should be made aware of their vital role in their children's learning. This thesis also calls for more comprehensive research into foundation phase teacher professional learning outside formal programs.
Acting Vice Chancellor, I present to you Violet Makwara. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Education, I present to you Joseph Museweni. The title of the thesis is Technical and Vocational Education and Training Lecturer Learning through Work Integrated Learning, a study of 3 colleges in KwaZulu-Natal. The supervisor is Dr. K. Taba Nkadimene and the co-supervisor, Dr. D. Mzintle. I now call upon the supervisor to read the summary.
The title of the study is Technical and Vocational Education and Training Lecturer Learning through Work Integrated Learning, a study of 3 colleges in KwaZulu-Natal. This study explored TVET lecturer learning through Work Integrated Learning specifically to establish the nature of their learning and the kinds of knowledge they gained, and further determine how the lecturer understands their learning. Will describe an approach to career-focused learning, which is often appropriate for attaining disciplinary specific practical competence. This study contributes to the literature on how work-integrated learning enhances TVET practical knowledge and pedagogy. It also contributes to their perceptions of industry personnel towards lecturers on will. The study used a quantitative research approach located within interpretative paradigm. A face-to-face semi-structured interview was conducted with 18 TVET college lecturers from 3 different colleges and 9 industry personnel at different companies. Non-participative observation complemented interviews and enabled capturing social action and interaction as it occurred and provided triangulation. The data were analyzed using open coding. The study used experiential learning theory complemented by conceptual frameworks on domains of teacher knowledge. The research identified the following challenges: a lack of technical skills among lecturers in civil, electrical, and mechanical engineering, machines and equipment in the industry, and industry induction processes promoted will and self-initiated learning in the TVET sector. That helped a limited number of lecturers. This is a positive part of it. And furthermore, the challenges, lack of lecturers' will support was identified. There were several findings that reflect on positive impact, such as TVET lecturers who participated in the training gained knowledge about industry processes, improved knowledge and practice of safe working procedures. And furthermore, there was found that there is a lack of interpersonal skills in the TVET industry. And the study recommends that inadequate capacitating of TVET lecturers with technical and soft skills to ensure that they comprehend the use of advanced machinery is needed. The lecturers on will need constant support to check the relevance of practical skill received during work-integrated learning. The study further recommends a training model for TVET lecturers during will to ensure a proper training. It is further recommended that there is a need to engage in industry placement at regular intervals to maintain current development in the industry. Lastly, there is a need for a large-scale research on all TVET colleges lecturers in South Africa who still need this type of training. Thank you very much.
Acting Vice-Chancellor, I present to you Joseph Mesuwini. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Education, I present to you Clifford Funono Molefi. The title of the thesis is Lesotho Police Education and Training in Community Conflict Management, a case study of the Child and Gender Protection Unit in Maseru. The supervisor is Prof. T. Mukaretsi, and the co-supervisor, Prof. J. Priest. I now call upon the supervisor to read the summary.
The purpose of the study was to explore how the Child and Gender Protection Unit in the Lesotho Police Service managed conflict situations when dealing with families and communities. It examined the extent to which police had received training in conflict management and the kind of further education and training that was still needed to manage conflict more effectively. A qualitative case study design was used. It covered 2 police stations in the country, namely the Maseru Urban and Maseru Rural police stations. The study adopted the symbolic interactionism theoretical framework, which acknowledges that different people perceive issues differently. The findings revealed that the majority of the police had spent many years in the service without access to education and training, either inside the country or outside the country. While education and training was the focus of this study, the study also revealed that cultural issues played a major role in conflict management. These findings led to recommendations that police in CGPU should be trained on how to manage conflict situations more effectively in the Lesotho Mounted Police Service.
Acting Vice Chancellor, I present to you Fanono Clifford Molefi. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Education, I present to you Karis Niranjan. The title of the thesis is The Use of Models to Develop Skills to Solve 3D Trigonometry Problems, a case study of grade 12 learners in a selected school in the Pinetown district. The supervisor is Prof. D. Brijlal and the co-supervisor, Dr. V. Masuku. I call upon the supervisor to read the summary.
Underperformance in mathematics has persistently been a challenge in South African schools. This study was conducted to add to current research in the debates about the use of manipulatives in mathematics in classrooms, in secondary schools. The study was carried out to determine how mathematical manipulatives or models helped grade 12 learners to adopt more active approaches towards the learning of three-dimensional trigonometric problems, and whether the use of these models did improve the learning of mathematics. The study made use of concrete mathematical manipulatives in exploring conceptual understanding. The use of sound teaching and learning principles foster an experiment where learners are motivated to reach their full potential. The findings in the study are important for the South African education system, the changing school climate, and the improving of mathematics results in our country. The research elicited sufficient data to support Piaget and Brunner's theory, which suggests that the use of manipulatives aids in constructing new mathematical knowledge, providing a link from concrete to abstract. It is intended that this research assist policymakers departmental heads and educators to modify and encourage more use of mathematics manipulatives in teaching strategies in mathematics, especially in secondary schools. This research has proven that using mathematics manipulatives is beneficial to all learners. The findings reflected in the study resonate with a number of studies both internationally and nationally. The findings of the study clearly show that manipulatives offer learners an additional lens through which to see mathematics concepts, as well as providing an additional resource.
Acting Vice-Chancellor, I present to you Karis Neranjan. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Education, I present to you Nedjerms Shoko. The title of the thesis is Teacher Professional Learning Through Teaching Roles and Its Influence on Pedagogical Practices, Experiences of Further Education and Training Mathematics Teachers. The supervisor is Prof. T. Mukaretsi and the co-supervisor, Prof. J. Priest. I now call upon the supervisor to read the summary.
Mathematics and science have dominated school curriculum discourse worldwide to promote science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM industries, valid for economic growth and employment creation. While poor performance in mathematics by South African learners has been attributed to teacher knowledge gaps, questions around how mathematics teachers learn and develop in their roles have remained unanswered. Understanding how they professionally learn is crucial. Through an interpretive qualitative case study, a purposive sample of 26 FET teachers, grade 12 mathematics teachers, was investigated regarding how their professional learning through teaching roles, the kinds of knowledge that they gained, how the learning influenced their pedagogical practices in one district in the Eastern Cape province. A multimodal approach involving focus group discussions, face-to-face interviews, complemented by photo elicitation, generated data, which were transcribed and manually analyzed inductively using open coding. Two theories, triple lens and mathematical knowledge for teaching, enabled unpacking, understanding, and explaining the data. Findings indicate that professional learning of mathematics teachers through their teaching roles occurs in interaction, in school, and in wide professional sites. The teachers gain professional knowledge and teaching attributes which transform their pedagogies. Drawing on the two theories, I argue that FET grade 12 mathematics teachers professionally learn through multiple domains of formality, formal, non-formal, and informal. The impetus for transmission, transitional, and transformative learning emanates from personal, occupational, and social domains of influence. Consequently, instructional leaders should increase opportunities for teacher interaction to foster their professional learning. Further to this, the study argues that an additive model to the MKT theory to include domain-based distinctions of formality, widen its scope of applicability in understanding professional learning of FET teachers.
Acting Vice-Chancellor, I present to you Nejams Shoko. I now call upon the Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Management Sciences. Thank you.
Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to request you to confer degrees and award diplomas on the graduandi and diplomandi from the Faculty of Management Sciences, who will be presented to you and in absentia to those whose names appear on the program.
By virtue of the authority vested in me, I confer the degrees and diplomas.
The title of the thesis: The Effectiveness of Entrepreneurship Education in the Selected High Schools, TVET colleges and public universities in KwaZulu-Natal province. The supervisor is Dr. L.M. Lekanya. The summary is as follows. Entrepreneurship education has become important in tandem with the demand of students seeking a business education that can provide the necessary competencies to succeed in an increasingly diverse and complex management environment. It cultivates innovative talents, which are an important driving force for future development. Considering the shifting entrepreneurial environment, constant adjustments are imperative in educational practices, procedures, and curricula to ensure the best outcomes for future entrepreneurs. To capture the effectiveness of entrepreneurship education from the perspective of teaching staff and students in public institutions of learning, a mixed method inductive approach was applied. The study found that there is little influence from the public institutions of learning on students to develop an entrepreneurial acumen and mindset. Students seldom have the opportunity to experience entrepreneurship in practice because the current curricula focus more on the theoretical transfer than practical aspects of entrepreneurship. A lack of experience and trained teachers of entrepreneurship were identified by both staff and students as significant resource constraints. The study suggests that policymakers should provide the conditions to put entrepreneurship education into practice more when moving forward. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Management Sciences, specializing in business administration, I present to you Tandukwasi Richmond Ngube. The title of the thesis is Entrepreneurial Intention of Matric Commerce Students in Rural Areas of KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. The supervisor is Professor J.K. Adam. The summary is as follows. South Africa's official unemployment rate was 32.6% in the first quarter of 2021. The figure was 46.3% among young people between the ages of 15 and 34. Entrepreneurship is widely recognized as an effective mechanism for addressing the challenges of unemployment, inequality, and poverty. Montley investigated the factors that influence the entrepreneurial intentions of matric commerce students in rural KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. The study included 433 commerce students from rural KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. The study adopted a positivist paradigm. Data were gathered through a self-administered questionnaire using a 5-point Likert scale. Montley found that with no time constraints, the majority of respondents had an inner desire to start an entrepreneurial venture at some point in their lives. The study enriches the body of literature of entrepreneurship education by explaining and recommending how entrepreneurial intention and behavior can be strengthened in learners at matric level as means to contribute to the future pool of business owners. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I present to you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Management Sciences, specializing in business administration. Montley Honesty Peter. The title of the thesis, Students' Perceptions of Distance Learning in Higher Education, a Case of Independent Colleges in KwaZulu-Natal. The supervisor is Dr. B. Chazareni. The summary is as follows. Distance learning is often described as efficient and prolific job flexi-hour studies, as DL has generally allowed the tertiary learners to study at leisure and at the same time contribute meaningfully to the economy. For a multiplicity of reasons, the pass rate of distance learners in South Africa is low, and many studies have identified a lack of aptitude on the part of the students as one of the main reasons for the low success rate. The findings of this research study show that students at independent colleges have positive attitudes and are sensitive to the requirements of DL. The study recommends that orientation programs provided to students at the College of Distance Education should be organized in such a manner that they will provide students an opportunity to have and maintain meaningful relationships with staff. Furthermore, it is recommended that the phrase distance learning should be rephrased as personalized learning program as a way of contextualizing the whole DL system. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Management Sciences, specializing in business administration, I present to you Ashna Sivai. The title of the thesis, Workplace Inequality and Discrimination on Individual Development and Organizational Performance at Selected Hotels in Durban Metropolitan City, South Africa. The supervisor is Professor B.I. Dlamini. I will now be calling upon Prof. Dlamini to read the summary.
The research investigated workplace inequality and discrimination on individual development and organizational performance at selected hotels in Durban, South Africa. The study explored experiences of employed women, school leavers, and foreigners in the hotel industry using qualitative research. Observations and semi-structured interviews were used to gather data which generated themes relating to recruitment and work experiences, emotions, discrimination in the workplace, and inequality at the workplace. The results and analysis of data show deplorable working conditions in the hotel and restaurants, affecting mainly black people. Racism is high, sexual harassment, discrimination, lack of career development, and exploitation, leading to increased work-related trauma amongst employees, thus affecting their performance. These findings are discussed in relation to the literature on working conditions, individual development, and organizational performance, raising some positive recommendations for the hotel industry and how they can better manage human resources. Thank you.
Deputy Vice-Chancellor, for the degree of philosophy in management sciences, specializing in human resources, I present to you Nyamumpachari Vareta. The title of the thesis, A Professional Development Framework, Life Sciences Educators' Pedagogical Content Knowledge in the Relationship between the Human Nervous System and the Endocrine System. The summary is as follows. The aim of this study was to determine whether professional development programs are effective for life sciences educators within the KwaZulu-Natal Department of Education to gain pedagogical content knowledge. The main problem focused on the quality of education determined by the quality of educators who are knowledgeable on the content and knowledgeable about strategies to be used to convey learning of the content. An objective of the study included determining whether current life sciences educators gain aspects of pedagogical content knowledge through teacher professional development programs. The objective also included the development of a conceptual framework model to improve life sciences education. The study made use of a quantitative research methods approach, a structured questionnaire in the format of scaled questions, namely the Likert scale, was used. The target population comprised of 210 life sciences educators in the Umlazi district of KwaZulu-Natal Department of Education. For the purpose of pre-testing, 10 samples were randomly selected. Therefore, from a target population of 200 life sciences educators, 132 samples were randomly selected for the purpose of the study. A total of 170 questionnaires were returned by the sample respondents, providing a high response rate of 96%. Data were used using the statistical package for social sciences, version 26. Results were shown as descriptive statistics of the quantitative data obtained in the forms of graphs, cross-tabulations, and other figures. The use of correlations and chi-square test values were interpreted to use the test 10 hypotheses for various components of the study. The researcher observed some significant results from the data analysis, which included more than 40% of respondents required a form of professional development to improve pedagogical content knowledge, and that more than 40% of teacher training workshops need to be aspect-specific. The study culminated with proposals for future research in the field. Supervisor, Dr. M.E. Lawrence, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I present to you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Management Sciences, specializing in human resources, Natasha Naidu. I now call upon the Executive Dean for the Faculty of Arts and Design.
For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Visual and Performing Arts, I present to you Peter Gregory Burnett. The title of the thesis is Capturing New Forms of Video Footage. The supervisor is Prof. J. Wade, and the co-supervisor, Prof. M. Chapman. I now call upon the supervisor to read the summary.
Excuse me. This standalone unmanned aerial system, some of you may know it as a drone, is designed and purpose-built to film niche sporting events, such as enduro motorcycle racing, in remote, harsh environments which have no road, footpath, internet, or cell phone accessibility. Transported on a motorcycle in a backpack, it must be assembled, programmed, flown, and repaired, if necessary, entirely in the field. The flight path is mapped, adjusted for viewing preferences, and uploaded onto the drone. The completely autonomous choreographed flight provides shots which encompass high angles, low angles, retreating perspectives ahead of the racer, following perspectives from behind the racer, tracking shots alongside the racer, close-ups and wide shots, all within one long, lingering, and ever-changing recording. It improves on traditional methods, forms of television coverage, broadens the appeal for the audience, and thus further popularizes the sport amongst the general population.
Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I present to you Peter Gregory Burnett. For the degree of Master of Applied Arts in Graphic Design, I present to you Victoria Louise Robertson. The title of the dissertation is Design for Racial Reconciliation Dialogue, a South African Case Study. The supervisor is Dr. P. Cathro, and the co-supervisor, Ms. C. Warburton. For the degree of Master of Education in Adult and Community Education, I present to you Vyantha Naidu. The title of the dissertation is The Role of the Foundational Learning Competence Course in Preparing English Second Language Students for Work Integrated Learning. The supervisor is Dr. Anita Hiralal.